Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a challenge I think we all face, right? Making decisions efficiently, effectively.
Definitely. It's constant.
And we're going to explore how using audio journaling, specifically with Chosen, can be more than just, recording thoughts.
Right. It's about a structured approach, getting clarity.
Exactly. We're bombarded with information, opinions. It's easy to feel overwhelmed.
Totally. And this deep dive is about finding a way to cut through that noise, to really make better choices faster.
Yeah. Gain that knowledge quickly, avoid feeling stuck. So our mission today.
Well, we're looking at how combining audio journaling in Chosen with two really powerful frameworks can help.
Those being Elon Musk's first principles thinking and Jeff Bezos' regret minimization framework.
Exactly. And how using them together, especially with something like Chosen, can lead to, profound clarity.
For all kinds of decisions, right? Career changes, relationships, the big stuff, and maybe even the smaller stuff, too.
Absolutely. Any place you need confidence in your choice.
So let's quickly touch on those frameworks. First principles. That's about stripping away assumptions.
Yeah, fundamentally. Getting to the basic truths, like what's really true here.
Okay, the Elon Musk example with SpaceX is classic. He questioned that huge $65 million rocket price tag.
Right. And when he broke it down, he found the actual raw materials were, like 2% of the cost?
Just 2%, which is wild.
It really is. It showed him that most of the cost wasn't fundamental. It was just process, assumptions baked in.
So he questioned the how and rebuilt it from the ground up, essentially.
Precisely. Based on those fundamental truths, the physics, the material costs.
Okay, and then the regret minimization framework. That's Bezos.
Yeah, that one's about perspective, projecting yourself forward. Imagine you're 80 years old.
Looking back on your life, okay.
And you ask, what would I regret not having done?
Like Bezos deciding to leave his, pretty comfortable job at D.E. Shaw.
Exactly. To start Amazon. He realized he'd regret not trying, much more than he'd regret trying and maybe failing.
The regret of inaction was the bigger risk for his 80-year-old self.
That's the core of it.
So why bring audio journaling into this, specifically with Chosen? How does that amplify these frameworks?
Well, it's a few things. First, just speaking your thoughts aloud into Chosen, it externalizes them.
Right. Sometimes just hearing yourself say it makes things click.
It really does. It forces a kind of clarity, and Chosen makes that easy.
And it lets you slow down, maybe.
Definitely. When you're journaling in Chosen, you can pause, reflect. You're not rushing. That space is crucial for digging into assumptions with first principles, or really feeling that future perspective for regret minimization.
It gives you that mental breathing room we rarely get.
Plus, it's a private space. You can explore the logic and the emotions. Decisions aren't just spreadsheets, right?
Not at all. There's always that gut feeling, the emotional side.
And Chosen lets you capture that too. Finally, you build this incredible record over time.
A log of your thinking.
Exactly. You can go back, listen, see patterns, see how you arrived at decisions. That's powerful for learning about yourself.
Okay, let's dig a bit deeper into first principles thinking then. We know it's about breaking things down, but what's the philosophical underpinning?
Well, it's really about reasoning from the absolute ground floor up, rather than by analogy. Musk quotes physics, right? Reason from first principles rather than by analogy.
So avoid saying, this problem is like that other problem I solved.
Yeah, because analogies can be misleading. They carry hidden assumptions. Aristotle called the first principle the first basis from which a thing is known. It's foundational. Think Descartes, doubting everything to find that one undeniable truth.
I think, therefore I am, that level of fundamental.
Exactly. Reasoning by analogy can trap you in existing ways of thinking. You might miss a truly novel solution because you're stuck comparing it to something else.
Okay, so how do we do it? Practically speaking, Musk has steps.
Yeah, a kind of three-step process generally. First, identify your current assumptions. Really list them out.
Like, to grow my business, I must hire expensive consultants. That's an assumption.
Perfect example. Step 2, break the problem down to its fundamental principles or truths. What really needs to happen?
Okay, so maybe the principle is, I need to reach more customers and convert them. Does that have to involve expensive consultants?
Now you're thinking. You question the necessity of the assumption based on the fundamental need.
And step 3.
Create new solutions from scratch based on those fundamentals. Maybe you could partner with complementary businesses, or focus on low-cost digital marketing, or improve your existing sales process. You're building from the ground up.
Got it. Are there techniques to help with that questioning? It sounds intense.
You can be. Socratic questioning is a great tool. Asking yourself probing questions. Why do I believe this? What's the evidence? Are there alternative explanations? What are the consequences if I'm wrong? Questioning the questions themselves.
Okay, like peeling an onion?
Kind of. And the 5 whys technique is simpler, but also effective. Just keep asking why.
Yeah.
About a problem. Why did this happen? Okay, why did that happen? You drill down to the root cause.
Simple but effective. You mentioned the snowmobile example earlier. That fits here.
Perfectly. It's from John Boyd's thought experiment. He didn't start with, how do I improve a sled? He looked at fundamental functions.
Right, like propulsion from a motorboat,
Steering from bicycle handlebars.
traction from tank treads.
Exactly. He broke down existing things into their core functions and then recombined those functions in a new way to solve a different problem, moving over snow.
So it's not just optimizing the existing form, but rethinking based on function.
That's the key. Innovation often comes from combining principles from different fields. Gutenberg's press, the screw press from winemaking, movable type, elements brought together.
It makes you think about the rolling suitcase example, too. Wheels existed for ages.
Millennia. But people were stuck on the form of luggage. It took until 1970 for someone to focus on the function, easily moving the heavy bag, and just add wheels. Seems obvious now, right?
Hindsight is 20/20. So the big takeaway for first principles, focus on the fundamental what, the function, not just the existing how, the form.
You got it. Now let's switch gears to the regret minimization framework, the core idea again.
Projecting to age 80, asking what that future self would regret not doing.
Right. And Bezos is the prime example.
Yeah.
Starting Amazon. The regret of not trying, of missing the internet wave, felt far worse to his projected 80-year-old self than the potential failure of the venture.
He said it made the decision incredibly easy, which is amazing given the risk.
It reframes risk, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It helps you bypass those immediate short-term fears, losing stability, looking foolish, whatever it is.
Because you're focused on the long game, your long-term value.
Exactly. It counteracts what psychologists call temporal discounting, where we naturally overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue future ones. This framework forces that long-term perspective.
Makes sense. It pushes you towards authenticity, too, maybe. Acting on what you truly want, not just what's expected or safe right now.
Absolutely. It encourages courage by connecting you to your deeper long-term self. What legacy do you want? What experiences truly matter?
Powerful questions. Are there related practices? You mentioned fear setting.
Yeah, fear settings is a great companion piece
Yeah.
developed by Tim Ferriss. You basically define the absolute worst-case scenario if you make the decision.
Okay, confront the fear head on.
Then you brainstorm ways to prevent that worst case from happening. And finally, you figure out what you would do to repair the damage if the worst actually occurred.
So it makes the fear concrete and manageable, rather than this vague, paralyzing dread.
Precisely. It gives you a sense of control even when facing uncertainty.
Okay, we've covered the theory, the big examples. Now let's get really practical. How does someone listening right now actually use Chosen with these frameworks for a specific decision they're facing?
Right, this is the crucial part. It's not just random venting into the app, though that has its place. For decision-making, structure helps.
So design a specific kind of audio journaling session in Chosen.
Exactly. Let's walk through a possible flow. First, you open Chosen, get ready to record, and you just state the decision clearly, out loud.
Okay, the decision I'm facing is whether to accept this new job offer or stay in my current role. Something like that.
Perfect. Just putting it out there creates focus. Then, maybe take a brief pause, let it sink in. Implied pause.
Okay, decision stated, then first principles.
Start asking those questions into Chosen. What do I know for certain to be true about this situation? Implied pause. Focus on facts, not feelings or assumptions yet.
Like, I know the salary offer is X. I know my current commute is Y.
Exactly. Then, what am I assuming here? Implied pause. Am I assuming the new job will be less stressful? Is that actually true? Challenge those assumptions.
Digging into the belief.
Right. And then the creative part. If I could build the ideal work situation from scratch, based on what I fundamentally need, what would it look like?
Implied pause. Forget the specific jobs for a second. Focus on the principles.
That really opens up possibilities. And you're recording all this in Chosen.
Yes,
Yeah.
letting the thoughts flow, using those natural pauses Chosen allows. Then shift gears.
To regret minimization.
Yep. Now you say, okay, imagine I'm 80 years old looking back at this choice. Implied pause. Really try to embody that perspective.
Get into character almost.
Kind of. Then ask, which choice would make my 80-year-old self feel proud, satisfied? Implied pause. What aligns with a life well lived?
That's a big question.
It is. And the flip side, what path might I deeply, truly regret not taking, even if it's scary now? Implied pause? What's the regret of inaction?
Focusing on that potential missed opportunity.
Exactly. And maybe a final question. What decision feels most aligned with who I am, my core values, even if it's uncomfortable right now? Implied pause. So you're using Chosen to guide yourself through this structured thinking process, leveraging both logic and that future emotional perspective.
Precisely. And the benefits of using Chosen here are significant. It's easy, you hit record, you talk. You play it back later.
That playback must be key. Hearing your own reasoning, maybe noticing things you missed in the moment.
Absolutely. And you're building that personal archive we mentioned. You can see how your thinking evolves. Plus, just the act of speaking, it clarifies things. It processes emotion differently than just typing or thinking.
It forces articulation.
It really does. Consistency helps too. Maybe revisiting the recording a day later, or doing this for multiple decisions and seeing your patterns.
And if you get stuck, Chosen can help there too, like using prompts.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't know where to start, just open Chosen and ask a simple prompt like, what am I feeling about this decision right now? Or what are my main goals here? Just get the ball rolling.
So it's a flexible but powerful tool for applying these quite sophisticated frameworks.
It really is. It bridges the gap between these great ideas and actually, using them in your real life to make better, more confident choices. Choices that feel right, both logically and emotionally, both now and for that future 80-year-old self.
It really ties back to that idea that progress requires decisions. This whole process combining first principles, regret minimization, and audio journaling in Chosen, it feels like a way to make those necessary decisions with more wisdom, more clarity.
I think so, too. It empowers you to move beyond just reacting or following assumptions, and instead to consciously design your choices based on fundamental truths and long-term values.
So the encouragement for everyone listening is really to give this a try, right? Experiment with it in Chosen.
Definitely. Pick a decision you're wrestling with, even a small one, and walk through these steps using Chosen. See what emerges.
And a final thought to leave people with, thinking about that snowmobile or the rolling suitcase.
Yeah, consider this. How many inventions or breakthroughs are waiting in your own life? Or maybe your field of work.
Things waiting to be discovered just by questioning the current form.
And focusing on the fundamental function. Using these frameworks and maybe your chosen journal to uncover them. It's about seeing possibilities where others only see the status quo.
Really provocative thought. And if you want to start exploring this for yourself, you can actually try Chosen for free.
That's right. It's a great way to experience how this process feels.
Just call the toll-free number 888-576-5669.
Or, easy to remember, 888-JRNL and now W.
Give it a try. See what clarity emerges for you.